All right, so very good afternoon to all of you guys. And once again, we are back. We are back with Varun sir, former bureaucrat. Hi sir, how are you? Very good afternoon. And so as promised to all of you, so this video is for those students जो कि इस बार अपना इंटरव्यू दे रहे हैं. हम यहाँ पे DAF 1 और DAF 2 की डिटेल डिस्कशन करने वाले हैं. कुछ ऐसी बातें करने वाले हैं जो कि आपको बहुत ज्यादा ध्यान से नोट करनी है बिफोर यू स्टार्ट योर मॉक इंटरव्यूज. और क्या क्या ऐसी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस पूछे आपको जा सकते हैं फॉर योर इंटरव्यूज, ये बातों का खुलासा आज वरुण सर करेंगे. Once again, a warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you so much.
And so let's start the video. So, sir, this is DAF 1. So we are taking because last year Animesh Pradhan, who was rank 2, he was one of our students for the interview guidance program. And sir had personally mentored him for his interviews as well. So, sir, I think we have Animesh's DAF 1 with us over here.
Yeah. So just to go through very quickly, I think DAF 1, everybody would have their educational details. That is what DAF 1 is. Right. Go down. Right. If you go down, right.
Yeah, just a
very
second,
quickly.
sir.
If you have the mouse. Just like the mouse. वो नीचे more. Right. उससे पहले. Yeah. Let's go down.
Yeah.
Right. So we don't have to. And so in the DAF 1, there's not too much details. It's just your address and stuff. But what we have in the DAF 1 is your optional, right? So before, even if let's say if you want to start preparing for an interview, I would say that you should be very comfortable talking about basic issues about your option. Like in Animesh's case, he had sociology as an optional. And here, obviously, we always talked about the fact that we have to discuss social issues, right? Especially in Odisha. And during the interview, as well in the mock interview, we discussed HIV/AIDS, right, in Odisha, and why are there so many people with HIV/AIDS in Odisha, and those kind of things, right? So we, something which is in current affairs, which is something also related to the optional that you are having. So in this case, it was sociology, right? And
so regional issues become very important.
So
the social issues.
So linking Odisha with sociology,
right?
That would be something that he would be preparing, right? If he was, we go back in time 1 year, right?
Right.
So obviously he had his interview very quickly, right? I remember in the first week of January, right? He had his interview, so not too much time, right? And a lot of you might not have too much time as well, I would say, right? And obviously we have to prepare Odisha as a state. Disaster management especially becomes very important in Odisha. The problems of Odisha, every year you'll get 2 cyclones.
Right.
So again,
absolutely.
What happens there, right? So those kind of things. Then some educational details are also there in the DAF 1, which are also present in DAF 2, mind you. So when we talk about, let's say, the educational details briefly.
Yeah, the sociology of
sociology is right. Okay.
And then the personal details
so obviously in the state we have to prepare the state. So
yes,
you should be very comfortable with the sex ratio,
so these are
with the data of the state, whichever state you are from. So normally we create a cheat sheet, right, of the state. Now, what's the area of the state? What's the population of the state? How many districts are in the state? Any district which is very well known. Odisha has very, very poor districts, right? We call them the KBK, right? So, that is the basic idea. If you're from Punjab, what's the Kandi region? If you're from Haryana, what is, obviously, which is the regions which are like more known for mining, let's say, Mahendragarh and so on. So, Rajasthan again,
yes.
So, any state that you are from, right? Maybe Tamil Nadu, maybe Kerala, right? So the idea being is that you should be very comfortable with what districts are there, how many number of districts are there, and then specifics, is there something special in that area, right? In that specific region, and maybe industry-wise or some, protest is happening across the last few years. Right now, if you listen to Punjab, right, so you have the Shambhu border issue. Is happening, right? So we just think of what state you are from and what is the issue that is, from the last 1 year going on. And what's your opinion on it? And make a very refined opinion on it. Remember, it's an interview. You're being judged for your quality of idealism, definitely, but the quality to be compassionate under pressure. Okay.
Also, I believe, sir, like Odisha being a tribal state, so if you come from a tribal state, So, for example, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh. So then, of course, there are some tribal issues involved.
Yeah.
And of course, Odisha had also Odisha was also the part of the Red Corridor. Of course, now the problem of insurgency is much lesser, but these issues are also very
Definitely,
pertinent.
definitely,
These
right?
issues are also
So we
very
have to,
pertinent.
like, I would say that we used to create a sheet of like the state we are from, like
Yeah.
5, 10 issues we
Yes.
definitely used to prepare, right?
Right.
And I think we can have, obviously when the one-on-ones with the
Yes.
student
On
comes,
the
I think we
brainstorming
can,
sessions.
at that
Yes.
time, we can do a specific state, whichever
Yes.
state the students are from. And we have done it the last time also,
Yes.
right, in the one-on-ones.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
briefly look at this class 10th, right, and class 12th, right? He was a great student. Obviously
Yes.
rank 2, so should be good, right? Even his college, right? If you think about it, he was a 9 pointer, but let's not. I think today, I think we should not really talk about that. Briefly, let's say whichever bachelor's you have, the person who's interviewing you will talk about it. So computer science. So obviously they'll try to link computer science with administration. They will talk about ChatGTP, LLMs, the new models, uh, anything which is coming up new, right, in artificial intelligence and machine learning.
Machine
So
learning.
they
Right.
will talk about that, right?
Right.
Some issues in case NIT Rourkela, obviously, how much linked it is with, let's say, Naxalism
Right.
in the 70s, 80s. Those kind of conversations can happen, right? Warangal was more related, but obviously Rourkela is also in Odisha, so same
Yes.
conversation can happen. It's DAV public school, so maybe a question on what does DAV stand for, when did it
This
start?
Kalinga area.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So again,
Kalinga again becomes important.
exactly. The
Yeah.
conversation
Yeah.
can happen there,
Yes.
right? Depending upon who is the person
Yes.
going through it. But sometimes what happens is they'll just ask you, right? Okay, so where you from, and you'll say, okay, where did you do schooling, and you'll say DV school. So they'll basically conversation
Right.
goes there, right?
Right.
Okay. Then I think DAFT one doesn't have anything else,
So
right?
yeah, we
It does have your employment details. So very interesting thing about him was that he was from the worked in the private sector and then went into the public sector,
yes.
right? So the conversation can become a comparison between the public and private sector. That is a very standard question which can be asked. Then depending on the sector you're from, so oil and gas, right?
Yeah.
So talk about the oil sector in India. What are the issues coming out? What is the consumption? What are the different places?
Right.
So there's some kind of a questionnaire should be prepared here of this industry as well.
Right.
So as we talked about, so one maybe it's like 4 or 5 pages on Odisha we should prepare, and the
Right.
various issues,
The
social
regional
issues,
issues. Yes.
political issues, and so right. Then something in news which is going on in the
Right.
last one year. Then we go for the place that is maybe Kalinga, where we talked
Kalinga,
about,
where he did his
right,
schooling from,
where
and
schooling
Rourkela
from,
from
yeah,
the graduation
right.
part.
Maybe the specific district, Talcher,
Yes.
right, which we should be prepared as well.
Yeah.
In terms of any issues or any news,
Right.
maybe even in the long past, perhaps that's
Yes.
also fine.
Yes.
Like if you're from Bhopal, right, the Bhopal gas strategy,
Bhopal gas tragedy. Absolutely.
that conversation would
Absolutely.
be done.
Absolutely.
Obviously, here, oil sector should be very well prepared.
Yes.
Computer science. So three things I would say. If I was just looking at DAF one, I'll say, okay, we have to prepare social issues of Odisha. We should prepare, the tribals,
Right.
right, and we should prepare the HIV and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes.
And then we go for the oil and gas sector and computer science.
Yes. Absolutely.
Right. So these three things I would, definitely go for. If I was just looking at a DAF one, right? So any of you watching right now, just look at, okay, what are the 3, 4 keywords I have? And then we create a questionnaire based upon what has been asked before. Despite the fact, remember, even if you create the questionnaire, once this is done, remember, it's about creating answers and rehearsing answers. And they look for how much, how well prepared you are. Remember, how well prepared you are doesn't come out in your answers, it comes out in your body language. If you're very well prepared about a certain topic, they will see it in your eyes. They will not even, listen to your words maybe too much, but they will know, okay, this guy knows this.
Right.
So, and once they think you know something, they switch very quickly in the interview.
Right.
It doesn't happen that, okay, I'm asking Kuber about, let's say, the Trump's, is going to become the president. And what do you think the relationship would be? And now you start answering, and you hit the nail on the head. Now, I will say that let's switch to something else.
Right.
Because I want to put you under pressure.
Yes.
And then I want to see, do you still think?
Yes. Immediately after Trump, you might ask something related to my job or something related to maybe some technology.
Any place So I want. So what does a civil servant basically entail, and what does he do? He works under pressure all the time.
Yes.
Now the question is, can he still be compassionate under pressure? Can he still think under pressure, right? Or is he freezing?
Freezing, yes.
Right? So if he is freezing, is not able to think under pressure. So I feel, yeah, maybe not.
So which
Okay.
also sort of, summarizes us to say that you have to be very responsive while answer instead of being reactive.
No, we
Because-
have, so be relaxed about it,
Yeah.
right? Remember, you will face, a lot tougher situations than this.
Yes, of
That-
course, of
right?
course, of
So
course.
if we talk to any student of ours in the last 10, 15 years who
Yeah.
is now in service, he says his biggest challenge is handling political pressure
Yes.
or handling the MLAs, MPs.
The MLAs, MPs,
Or,
right.
in the beginning, the biggest challenge would be that you would be unfairly criticized all the
Right.
time.
Right.
Right? It's not none of your fault, and you will be, taken to task.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes it will happen. The previous DC did something, and you were the one, sitting in court.
So you feel a lot of polarization is happening around you, and then you obviously have to take sides and all that. So that
So-
that is testing your emotional intelligence and emotional
Exactly. So
quotient
you have
as well.
to, mature up, but that will happen across training.
Yes.
So that's something. If you're not today, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
But
that's
that I think will happen to you
Yes.
the next few years when you are in service, and your seniors will guide you. So don't think that
Absolutely.
you suddenly need to become
Yes,
that person.
absolutely.
Right? Kuber doesn't need to become his father, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Suddenly.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
So,
right.
so what Sir is also trying to say is that even if your answers are not as nuanced as probably somebody who's worked in the government for 20, 25 years, need not worry about that, because UPSC is also not expecting you to give nuanced answers. UPSC is expecting you to probably say what is there on your mind in a refined manner, which is why we'll be talking more about these in the mock interviews. All right, sir. So now we'll move on to the DAF 2,
Yeah.
I guess.
Let's open the DAF.
Yeah. So this is the
Okay.
DAF 2.
Yeah. So go down. Okay, same. So same details.
So the
right?
same details, the personal
are
details.
there. Then the district you're from. Then 10th, 12th, and BTech.
Again, the same thing.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now is something that I think everybody would have the question on their minds, and everyone's minds is, how do I fill this? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the first thing is obviously see, remember, whatever you're filling here, this gives a keyword in the interview, right? So whether it's prizes, medals, or scholarships, or sports, or position of leadership or distinction in school, college, or extracurricular activities, they expect that. Okay, so it says university, state, or national level. So nothing in the lower
Yeah.
levels, right? So that's the first thing you have to understand.
Not the district level or the
Now,
municipal level.
a lot of people say, "Sir, mera to kuch hai nahi." So normally I say that just go back in time, just think. A lot of times you would have done a lot of things in school and college, but 4 years of BTech, and then maybe
Preparation of
working and
UPSC,
preparation, you forgot
You
about
forgot
all
all those
things,
things,
right?
yes.
Just sit, look at your CV, which you actually had made maybe for your placements, etc. You had something, some kind of thing. Okay, so now basic things are easy. I don't think so. You will forget your state or national level tournaments
Yeah.
too often. So it says very interestingly, he says Machine Learning Developer Summit.
Yeah.
He was a speaker there. Very interesting thing is that, so he's given a keyword here.
Yeah.
Now this is like a fisherman,
Yeah.
right, throwing his net.
Yes.
Right. This is like him saying, okay, I'll prepare this.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about this in the interview room.
Right.
And then I'll say, okay, how this can help in administration, how this can make lives easier
Right.
for people, etc., etc. And so the conversation can go here.
Right.
So I get good marks here when I talk about here.
Yeah.
Next is parliamentary debating. So he says I've good communication skills.
Yeah.
So let's portray that.
Yes.
Okay. Then it says invitation to witness Republic Day for matriculation performance.
Yeah.
So here I'm saying I'm a very good student.
Yeah.
Indirectly I'm saying, yeah, I'm a good student. Take me,
Yeah.
right? In
Yeah.
some ways. Okay. So just think. So this is the plan. Okay. Don't think he has not planned this.
Yeah.
Okay. So you also think, okay, how this can be done, right, for you. Okay. Then sports NCC. Very interestingly, he has not mentioned anything.
Yes.
Right. He might have something, but he says, let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, and maybe he doesn't have something. So do not mind leaving something like
Empty,
this, right?
yes.
Empty, right? A lot of people have said, "Ye sir, khali reh jayega, sir," and I'm like, you don't need that, right?
Yeah, you don't need to bluff. I mean, if you have not participated in any sport, let's say you were a very average student, very average in studies, and not very much into sports, and everything. I mean, you don't need to be that Amir Khan from Jo Jeeta Wo Sikandar, but I mean that's fine even if you weren't doing anything, so you can leave it empty.
Yeah, maybe that's too far. I think
That's
students
too
are too
far.
young here.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I think we should pick up something more
Yeah,
recent, right?
more conventional.
Yeah,
Student
yeah.
of the year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
D
student of the year.
Gurkesh, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, Gukesh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right, okay. So, position of leadership in school or college, right?
Yes,
Yeah, Gurkesh can't take the civil services, right? Sadly, right? Still not
of
eligible.
course, of course.
Maybe 3 years after,
Well,
right?
he has better things to do.
Then maybe he retires in 3 years and maybe thinks about it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Now,
Yes.
position of distinction, leadership in school or college. Uh, we have, oh my God.
Okay, we have
कोई
just a
नहीं, कोई
second.
नहीं, कोई नहीं.
Just pause.
Pause कर दे, कोई नहीं.
All right. So sorry guys, बीच में थोड़ा light चला गया था. That's why it was a little pause in the video. So yes, coming back to the discussion, sir.
So we were talking about position of distinction and leadership, right? So now how do we think about it? We think about it. अच्छा school में कभी head boy, head girl थे आप? First question I would think. Discipline in charge, class monitor, but obviously class monitor is too small. But just think, right?
Or house
From the
captain,
basics,
school
right?
captain.
Yeah, house captain, school captain. So that's something can be written. Then maybe you got some responsibility in terms of organizing some fest.
Yes.
Right. Obviously, you were part of the festival committee,
Yes.
right? Or for your college, for your school, right? You organized some event in your. You were part of the literary club and you organized something there, right? You organized some painting competition. You were part of the road track club, right? MUNs. I think a lot of people do those.
So if I'm right, sir, so the leadership abilities which you demonstrated अपने school time में या college time में, तो वो leadership abilities के basis पे भी आपसे questions पूछे जा सकते हैं.
Definitely. You see, one of the criteria for selection in UPSC is social cohesion and leadership, right?
Yes.
So there we look at whether a person can be somebody who can gel with most people.
Yes.
Right. Remember,
Absolutely.
as a civil servant, we would be meeting people from all
Walks of
diversity,
life. Yes.
all walks of life. We will one day there will be a person coming just before someone. He will be having a trouble of 100 rupees. The next person will come. He owns some 15,000 crores. Right? So the same day, right? And one after the other. That is the kind of diversity you will face.
Yes.
The same day you're meeting that person,
Absolutely.
right? So that is how your responsibility will be. That's why you need a lot of EQ across time once you're in service.
Yes.
But okay, right now, see, so as you can see, placement coordinator, he's mentioned. So maybe you have done that as well in your college. He says chief coordinator for Monday morning students media body. Okay, very interesting. And then he says he was a counseling mentor and he was the head boy. Okay, so he's picked up things, right? Maybe other head boy is enough. To be honest, if I was talking about us, I would say our head boy, put the head boy at the front.
Yeah.
Okay, that's something I look for.
Yes.
Right. He has gone sequence wise. The
year wise.
Year wise.
Starting from the descending order.
But I would say maybe put the priority up.
In the ascending order.
Yeah, I would say that okay. Let's put the head boy above. Right, because that's more important.
Right.
The counseling thing maybe the next,
right.
And the other things later.
Right.
Because I would think that okay, what do I want the person to read?
Precisely.
Right. So I would like him to read that I was a head boy.
Precisely.
Right? So that way. So obviously, but upstairs also I'm getting a lot of leadership qualities and all.
Precisely.
Okay. Then extra. Okay, this is the most debatable thing. What has always happened. So last year I was interviewing people day after day, and I was getting mandala art.
Mandala art, yes.
And I was like, who has told to write this, man? Okay, so mandala art is something very specific.
Yeah.
It is normally asked for people who are under depression.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, you might like to do it anyhow.
Yeah.
But it is normally done as psychotherapy, etc.
As a yes.
Right. And I think who is suggesting this? It was like during our time it used to be diary writing.
Right. Diary writing.
It's so hard to do that as well, right? Diary writing, right? So, right. I would say it's like okay, so I ask you every day, just sit and just remember the day in the evening, right? You will be like, man, I'm shit tired. Okay, you will sleep like a baby in a second, right? Kuber सब कुछ याद करना है दिन में क्या हुआ यार सो रहा हूँ भाई मैं तो
right. So it has to come very naturally. So the point is that like diary writing, if you're writing that my hobbies diary writing, or let's say if you're writing that my hobbies watching Netflix. So I mean, just before the start of the video we were talking about movies as well. It's very important for you to actually be there and show that, because it's not that you're just faking it for the sake of it. So ये मत करना.
See, this is okay. So what is a hobby? Hobby is a thing in which you pay money, you pay time, and you are not getting anything in return
Yeah.
out of that hobby, right? So it basically shows an insight into your personality.
Yes.
Okay, so you might say, sir, civil services में तो कुछ किया ही नहीं है हमने, right? And college में भी थोड़ा बहुत कुछ करते थे. So if you can't remember any hobbies which you were doing, just think about what you used to do as a school kid, right? You might have some passions which you have forgotten or are not doing anymore, right? So that's something that you can definitely pick up. Here, obviously, the various types of hobbies. So what are the various types of hobbies which you have? You have various sports. So dancing, painting, writing, essay writing, blogging, etc. Something like that.
Yes.
Okay. Then you can have any kind of sport, chess, carom, Ludo, maybe even. I'm not sure.
Cricket, football,
Cricket,
basketball.
football, basketball, any sport.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ice hockey, ice skating.
Anything,
Yeah,
anything, any
anything.
sport
Yeah,
is
yeah.
fine. Gardening.
Gardening, yeah.
Gardening is there,
Gardening.
right? People just like going for a walk.
Yeah, walking, traveling, photography.
Traveling, yeah, traveling, photography. A lot of people have that. Traveling is,
Yeah.
in, right?
Yes, solo traveling is a lot in, by the way, nowadays. Yeah. Or even nowadays we see youngsters feeding the dogs, like acts of social service.
Stray
Street
dogs.
The
Street
the
dogs
street
is
dogs. Yeah.
there, right? So, but that maybe can come under social response or other
Perfect.
places as well because your NGO work is there. But
Perfect.
yeah, this is also fine.
Perfect.
So he says freestyle dancing. Okay,
Yeah.
that's there. Media advocacy and journalism. If he likes to write in a few newspapers, right? So those kind of things. So it doesn't need to be very serious. What you are doing your hobby.
Yeah.
But it should be something you do.
You like doing
You
it.
like doing it, right?
Unapologetically.
Yeah. Don't care about the fact that you'll be judged there.
Yes.
They are just just seeing, okay, does he have a life outside?
Outside the academics and the books. Yeah.
Right, because in civil services they will encourage you.
Yes.
Once you're in service, that have a life outside.
Yes.
Okay. Just don't work.
Yeah.
Because it's a long journey. Right, so to balance it out, a lot of people like photography, wildlife photography.
Yes, absolutely.
In civil services, a lot of people like to trek. Trekking is very, very common in civil
poetry,
services.
I mean, they're like
poetry.
The old age civil servants, they like Urdu poetry, writing poetry.
They write a lot.
Yeah,
right?
They write
a lot of civil servants, you will know that they'll write books.
They write books,
It's
absolutely.
very natural for them, right? They'll write books on Hinduism, spirituality,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
I think we had a panelist last year. He had written books on science and spirituality.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? He was an IFS.
Yes.
Right? So that is there.
Yeah.
So right, whatever you have, let's go back in time. Go back in class 8th, 9th, 6th, 7th. What do you like to do as a hobby? Playing football. You like to watch football, right? Okay.
Yes.
Remember, it's a conversation, and they're checking your suitability as an administrator, and they're looking at under pressure, does he think? Right. That is all. Right.
Yes.
If you want to get high marks in civil services interviews, I just say, okay, they'll put you under pressure, and they'll check whether you can think.
Right.
If you can do that, you'll get high marks.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, do not guess. That's the other thing, right? Okay.
So I also want to tell you all of you guys that Varun sir, me, and the other panelists, who would be the esteemed panelists involved in these mock interviews, we would be helping you step by step in the mock interviews, and for which we have a detailed interview guidance program as well. So I'll talk to you about that, before the end of the video. So moving on to the cadre and the the service preference.
Okay.
So all these things.
So they will ask you the home state. Okay. So if your home state and your zone 1, right? So do you want it as your first preference? Yes or no? This is the first thing, right? So Odisha, and yes. So and obviously zone 2 is 1 and Odisha is 1 here.
Yeah.
In his case, right? Because he's from Odisha. Now, normally you would pick up whatever is your home state as 1, right? And pick the zone in which the home state is as 1.
Yes.
After that, it is a lot more random in terms of you can go from north to south, depending upon where you are from. If you're from south, you can go from south to north.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So that is how it is, right? So let's say I am from Tamil Nadu, let's say. So zone 5 becomes 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Right? And let's say then I say, okay, zone 3, perhaps. Right? And then I go to zone 2, and then I say zone 1 and maybe zone 5, or alternatively. My preferences can shift. Right. You can have variations inside the zones as well. Let's say I am from North India, and so whether I should take Rajasthan or Haryana first or Punjab first, it's a conversation.
Yes.
A lot of people say Agmut is fine.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. The hills, obviously, the hill states, if let's say you're from a hilly area, right? You're from Uttarakhand. So maybe you like to prefer to work
Himachal
in
Pradesh.
So you like Himachal and Uttarakhand more than others, right? So there are very specific personal preferences which are there, right? I would say. And so you might have your own viewpoint. But do as in I would say in the one-on-ones, or if you have any conversation, do get this checked from your mentor, right? So that it's not too wild.
For the sake of the audience, sir, I would want to ask you, there is
Hmm.
nothing technical in terms of choosing your order of preference for state cadre.
Mhm.
It's entirely your own, personal based.
Yeah.
It's your
Yes,
entirely
okay.
your interest based preference, rather, I would
Exactly,
say.
exactly. Acha,
Okay.
so one thing which obviously in case somebody is for the first time is filling it.
Yeah.
So first you have to fill the zone. Okay. So let's say zone 2 is 1. So what does that mean is that let's say your rank is rank 1. So you will get your first zone and sorry, your first zone and the
Your
first
home
state
state, yeah.
and the
The
first state
preference zone and
and
the
the first
first
state.
state you have marked in that preference
Let's
zone.
say you are rank 30
Yeah.
and somebody already has chosen Odisha and you are
Yes.
not getting it.
Yes.
So you will move to zone 2. You will not get Jharkhand.
Right.
You will move to zone 2 and the first preference is
And
that's
the first
Rajasthan.
preference there, right.
Now let's say Rajasthan also you don't get.
Right.
So you will go to your third, that is,
The third preference zone which you have marked.
and you will go to Madhya Pradesh.
And the first state in that preference zone which you had marked.
Exactly. And then you will move to Telangana and then you will go to Assam, Meghalaya.
Yeah.
And if you don't get in any of these,
Yeah.
then you get the second, that is Jharkhand.
The second in the first zone.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so in order to summarize what sir is talking about, that so whatever zones you have filled in, your preference, zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say that you have got a very good rank, let's say that you've got a single digit rank. If you're lucky, so then you'll get your zone preference and the state preference in that zone which you have marked. But let's say that you've got a double digit rank, let's say as sir say 30, 40, 45 rank, and perhaps if that zone and that preferred state in that zone has already been filled in, then you will automatically get zone 2 of your preference and the first state in that zone 2 which you have marked. That is how you're going to go about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So this is what
Yeah.
right. This is for the IAS.
Yeah.
For the IPS, it's a little different,
Yeah.
right? Because in the IPS, there's the commissionerate system,
Yes.
right? So the in the AGMUT, that is the UT, right?
Yeah.
So Chandigarh,
Delhi.
Delhi, Goa,
Goa.
and so and so.
Yeah.
You will have people choosing for the IPS, the AGMUT cadre as one. So you've seen here, right? For zone 2 is picked up. After Odisha, he's saying let's go to Chandigarh, perhaps, or
Yes.
Delhi,
Yes.
right? And then he's in zone 3 is taken in Maharashtra.
Yeah.
So again, the commissionerate system comes into play,
Yeah.
right?
So the first preference in zone 3 is Maharashtra.
Okay, and then he's gone to Telangana. Again, the same thing.
The same thing. The same
Right.
thing.
So wherever there's a commissionerate system, the SP has a lot of power. The police
Yes.
people have a lot of power. So
Yes.
that is preferred over the other states. So
The
this
other
is
state.
something that you need to keep in mind when you're filling for the IPS.
Right, sir.
Okay.
So anything else which I think more or less we've
Other
covered,
more,
sir?
yeah. Now we discuss I
The
think
service.
the services. And
Again, this is something which is to each to its own.
Yeah.
But we can just quickly
We can
discuss
briefly
about
talk about
Animesh's choices.
yeah. So we take the IAS as
Yeah.
one. Some of you might have IFS as one.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the difference between them? So in the Indian Administrative Services, there's a lot of public dealing. Okay, right? That's the main thing. So you are a person who would actually have a lot of influence on the ground, and you are a person who has a lot of public dealing. Okay, so if you like that, it will suit you really well. It's a lot of power, perks, and privileges. I think everybody who takes this exam perhaps is looking for this. IFS. On the other hand, IFS is a very interesting, right? Here, you will be in a different country, and you will be talking to people on the ground, on the local levels, right? And getting to know what is happening on the ground in that country, and then sending information to your home country, that's
Right.
India. Let's say I'm in China, I would be talking to all people who are actually in China on the ground and trying to get information that what is happening in China and how they're thinking.
Right.
Okay, so your role is very different.
Right.
So your role is very, very intellectual in some ways here, right? And as a person, you will grow. Your personality will grow.
Yes, leaps and bounds. Leaps and bounds. Yeah.
Right. So here, obviously, it's very different.
Yes, absolutely.
Now the IPS, right? So IPS perhaps is most political in nature among all the services, right?
Yeah.
Now, in the IPS, on the ground, the impact you will make in the first 10 years of your life will be perhaps even more than any other service, right? Because on the ground, you can make a huge difference. The problem is gets very narrow at the top. You might not have enough opportunities later on.
Yeah.
Right? But at least for the first 10, 15 years,
10, 15 years.
yes, you can make a huge impact in the lives of people. So that's something which is from the IPS, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, their deputation to the NIA, and CBI,
The
etc.
IB and
So
everything,
maybe
yes.
that works out for you later on, right? But
Right.
that's how it is. Then normally people choose 1, 2, 3 like this, right?
Yeah.
Then we normally go. People say IRS, GST, and obviously which is custom and debt taxes and income tax.
Yeah.
These are interchangeably. These days people are putting GST above
Yeah.
IT.
IT.
But I don't think so. Remember, it's a long, long journey, right?
Yes.
So if I think about it, the future, let's say 30 years
Yeah.
of India, I might say IFS better
Yeah.
than anything else right now. Okay. In the previous generation, because India was still developing and development was happening in India, the IAS was better.
The IS was, yeah.
Interestingly, during that time, everybody used to pick up the IFS
Yes.
as one, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because obviously people normally think, "Acha, abhi aaj kya acha hai?" They never thought, okay, 30
Yeah.
years mein kya acha hoga,
Yeah.
right? So because India obviously is, flexing his muscles, wanting to be. So today, like if you think about it, right? What does India, New India thinks is, he doesn't think हम होंगे कामयाब. He says हम होंगे कामयाब आज.
Aj. Not ek din, but
Right.
Aj.
हाँ,
Aj.
एक दिन नहीं है अब.
Yeah, but
ठीक है
Aj.
ना, आज.
Yes.
So same way.
Absolutely.
So like today, if I think about it, what service I would think would be the best, perhaps in the next 10, 15, 30 years, the IFS will become
Right.
the most powerful service,
Right.
because we would be flexing our muscles everywhere.
Absolutely.
Okay, but yes, the IS would remain as good as it is. Okay,
Absolutely.
after that, okay, the audit and account service.
Yeah.
Okay, that normally is chosen, right? After these,
Yeah.
it's the watchdog.
Yes.
They have the most beautiful academy,
Yes.
right, in Shimla, right, and it's a very interesting service, I would say, right. And because it's we call it the damad of the IAS, right? They are the ones who basically check up all the schemes, etc.
Correct.
Whether they have done in a way which is satisfied. So that is there, right? I would say that IAS is great. After that, obviously, there are lots of service in which you'll find that they're very what do you say, 9 to 5 jobs.
Yeah.
Okay, so great 9 to 5 jobs with the highest pay package.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
and with all the perks and privileges.
All the perks and
right.
privileges.
You might, and best part is you might not, have the public glare in those
Yes.
services, right?
Absolutely.
Those are those. Some people do prefer the DANIPS and the DANICs.
Yeah.
Right. These services. Some people actually put this after the audit accounts.
All right.
Right, because some people say that I want to work as an executive.
Right.
Rather than an advisory.
Rather than, right.
Right. Railways obviously will have, I think, more seats
Right.
this year. Right. And that's something that I think again can be considered, right? Remember, railways and the Indian police force are the toughest jobs in India, perhaps.
Yes.
They work 24/7, 7 days a week. So that's something.
Precisely. So I think so that finishes us
that's
with DAF 2.
Hmm.
And now, so we can just take a moment to let our viewers know about how to enroll to our interview guidance program. So guys, what you have to do is, first of all, you'll just do a bit of Googling and you'll write sleepyclasses.com. So on the Google page, Sleepy Classes ka website link will come. And then you visit the website. Once you visit the website, तो आप थोड़ा सा नीचे जाके देखें. Once you go down, so over here, it's the UPSC interview guidance program. You click over here. Okay, I think there is some issue over here.
Just click with that.
Okay, so I mean, I think there is some issue. Okay, probably, yeah. Okay, so yeah, so some pop-ups will come on the website, so you can just cancel those pop-ups. And UPSC interview guidance program, you click, and then यहाँ पे आपका UPSC interview guidance का जो page है वो आ जाएगा. And how to join? So there are 2 steps. There's 2 steps. Step 1 is fill the form with the required details. You have to fill the form with the required details. That's step 1. So you can click over here, register, and this is absolutely free. The interview guidance program is absolutely free. You don't have to pay anything. And step 2 is that we would get back to you for further directions and for further details. So these are the 2 steps involved. Now you also have a private Telegram group. Let me tell you that our interview guidance program is very, very extensive. What are all the key issues, starting from the regional and the municipal issues we would be discussing, and we would be having detailed Zoom sessions on that. Of course, we have a team of esteemed panelists. We have Varun sir with us, who's also a former bureaucrat, and he would also be taking up one-on-one mentorship with all of you. So you're at the right place. If you're watching this video, you're at the right place. We are, a team of very hardworking and dedicated teachers who are out there to bring a lot of change in the society. And now we need your help as well, because now you have reached that stage of the interview whereby even you are needing for guidance, and we are ready to provide you guidance at free of cost. So therefore, friends, I would like to just quickly end this video by saying that we are looking forward to work with you. Those of you who have prepared uh, earlier on for the interviews and now also have reached this stage, please don't become complacent, because even now you would be needing some mentoring and guidance. So we would be looking forward to work with you all for this interview guidance program. And I think, sir, more or less we have addressed
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
concerns and all the issues which an ideal aspirant would face
And if
at.
you have any questions, I think they can reach
Yeah,
to
you
us,
can.
right? That's
So, guys, we have our toll-free number as well, 1-800-890-3043. Or if at all you have any other query to ask, you can please drop in a mail at sleepy.classes@gmail.com. So, we'll see you soon then. Thank
yeah,
you so much, sir.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you.